Intellect, it needs to be worked out every single day. We need to feed it with the right knowledge every single day, and it has to be used every single day. And mind, on the other hand, it's like supercharged, powerful, never depleting, all the time, on. The difference between right thinking and wrong thinking pattern: if the thinking pattern is right, it is going to make us feel contented, makes it feel motivated. In the previous video, I told you guys how Ayurveda actually helped me figure out my own self. Basically, it helped me improve my self-awareness. If you've not watched it, I will link it down below. Just watch that video out. I was just thinking too much for having a solution for a problem, but my thinking wasn't right, and my overthinking led to physical issues like headache, unbearable kind of headache. It's not the regular headache like little pain goes off like that. It was like unbearable. I got to know about Ayurveda. I did research by myself. Once I figured out the cause of headache, I kind of followed all of the protocols, what all I should follow, how should I be eating, what should I be doing, and all of that I did. But again, after curing the headache, I still have to think, right? Because my whole issue is because of a situation that has come into my life that is not as per my want. Basically, my plan or my decision went miserably wrong, and almost my future was like, in question marks and crossroads in everything of my life. I have to figure out a solution on how to, mend this wrong decision, or is there any way I can move forward, or how do I figure out the answers for all this? I have to think for that, and my thinking was really bad. My thinking was like spiraling around. It was never giving any solutions to it. So that's exactly when I came to know that my thinking pattern only was wrong. The way I was trying to think, hoping that I'm going to find solution for a problem, is basically the reason for all the issues magnified much further than it was before. Too many thoughts at one time, it's like overwhelming, and then my emotions will somehow take over, and then I will either feel super angry, and then after anger I have no way out. I'll get headache, anger and headache, or feeling too hopeless and crying. These are the two kind of modes I was in. Most of the time it's anger and headache all the time. Very rarely it gets into feeling hopeless, helpless, and miserable and stuck in life, and then getting into tears because there is no other way out, because my thinking pattern was wrong. So if our thinking pattern is right, we'll actually end up in a solution wherein after the thinking process we're going to feel some relief. At least we'll have some idea on where to move after this. So now I figured out, to stop headache I shouldn't be overthinking, but I should also know how to think right, so that I can actually find out a solution, not get into headache, at the same time feel relieved and not be overwhelmed by the situation over and over again, but kind of move forward from feeling like stuck and lost in my life, not knowing where to move forward, not figuring out an answer for it. I didn't want that. Whatever the issue, whatever situation that has come into my life, it's just a situation. The way I take it is going to make it like a problem or a joyful time in my life. So now the situation that has happened in my life, I am not able to take it light. Now I need to think for a solution for it, but the way I'm thinking is wrong. So here exactly I figure out the reason why it is getting complicated like that, because the mind is involved, you guys. So here are these 4 things the mind does basically. M-I-N-D, mind. And M is a magnifying problem. I is imaginating too much, imagining stuff. N is negating responsibility, and D for denies reality. It's exactly what our mind is designed to do. Every time I'm thinking, I am not using my intellect at all. I was not accepting the reality. I was imagining all the worst situation possible, and I was magnifying the existing situation, and I did not want to take any responsibility for all of this. So I was just like blaming it on the outside world. But the thing is, once you become an adult, you cannot put the blame on anybody else. Whatever it is, good or bad, we have to take the control by our own self. Nobody is going to come and help us, including our parents. Even if the situation is caused by somebody else, we should take control of it. Most of the times we feel like somebody else has caused this situation to us, which means they are the one who's responsible and they are the one who should come and fix it, right? That's exactly what we think, but that's not how adult life works. At least as long as we are a kid, probably that will work, but once we become an adult, we need to take responsibility. Even if some random person or some close person in our life is coming and doing some unbearable, unimaginable thing to your life, still we should take the control of it. We should take the responsibility and try and come out of the situation. Now this is going to be a very difficult thing to do in the beginning, at least, because it requires too much of work and effort, because we're already in a spiraling mode, finding whom to blame and not take responsibility, and mind's job is also just this. So together it's going to be really hard. If you're over 18, right, we need to take responsibility of ourselves. I know 18 seems too young, even 25 seems too young, even 30 seems too young, because as and when we age, the situations that come into our life also kind of ages. So it is going to be more and more intense and more complex. because we have gone to a higher level of stage. Just like, you know, like a video game level 1 is always easy, but 11, 10 or level 25 is actually difficult, and you have to figure this out. Our mind is the issue here. But in case if your thinking pattern is wrong, just like how I was doing, you would either end up in frustration, anger, frustration, or you will end up in tears, emotional cries, and yeah, feeling really hopeless, depressed, stuck, lonely, etc., etc., sad. All of those feelings you'll get if the thinking pattern is wrong. And being a girl, being a woman, we have too many emotions already within ourselves. So we are basically emotional beings more than men, because we are designed in such a way, and we have hormones continuously going on our body. We have our periods, we have our cycle every day, every single day. There is some or the other change happening in the ovaries or the fallopian tube or the uterus, like whether the egg is getting formed or the egg is getting nurtured or the egg is getting ruptured. It's going to come out as periods. Either way, something or the other is happening within the body every single day. And on top of it, either estrogen gets increased or progesterone gets increased. All of this hormonal ups and downs, it has to happen a right way. And if one of these things is not happening, automatically we are going to feel on top of it miserable. So this thing is definitely going to make us emotional, irrespective of any other situation or not. On top of this, we are also getting into other issues or situations or taking stress and things like that as well, wherein on top of these emotional changes that is naturally happening in the body, we are also having mental fluctuations up and here down, and body's up and down fluctuations will have effect on the mind, and the mind's up and down fluctuations is going to have effect on the body as well. So together, all these fluctuations is going to end up in hormonal imbalance, and which most of us are facing because of this. So what is actually overthinking does is like, so I'm sitting here perfectly in my safe environment in my house, I'm very calm, everything is fine here, but my mind just brings one thought situation that was like unpleasant for me, it just brings out in the head. Now I start thinking, I imagine the worst the stuff possible, and automatically when emotions come into play, everything feels super clouded, super overwhelming, anxiety increases. Automatically the effect is transferred to the body. When the emotions are involved, automatically it glides down to the body as well. Digestion is hampered, heart rate, heartbeat is increased, breathing quality is reduced, have shallow breathing. Automatically cells inside our body is not going to get complete oxygen, the detoxification process gets kind of hampered, lot of toxins are formed inside the body. On top of it, the body will release cortisol because it thinks it's like you're in flight and fright mode. Top of this, our own existing hormones like estrogen, progesterone, all of those things that is playing up and down here is going to get hampered. So many things are hampered. Our hair is going to fall. On top of it, our digestion is going to be here. We lose our hunger. Some people will resort into emotional eating. Some people will not have any hunger at all and will try to skip foods. Automatically, the sleep quality is gone. Certain people cannot sleep at all. They keep tossing around. Everything is caused just by our own thinking, you guys. Can you believe? Sitting safely in one particular environment, and I'm just making everything happen. In olden day computer, some other tab opens and automatically some junk will be downloading somewhere, right? That's exactly what is happening within our own self, our own making. That's exactly how we do. What is the result of all of those things? Nothing. Just health is ruined, no solution gotten for any of the issue, and miserable than ever before. So this is exactly what happens, and over time this is just not going to stay just like that. You know, it's going to creep up into other physical ailments, and lifestyle disorders is going to happen as well. So that's exactly how overthinking is wrong, because we have this amazing capacity of thinking properly and using our intellect right and come out of this cycle of birth and death. Our human birth is given for that, okay? But what we do when you take a kid to a gold shop and then you give the kid a bar of gold and a bar of chocolate, the kid would automatically choose the chocolate because it has no idea about the value of the gold. Exactly how we are. Our such a big purpose of our life, we are missing out, just like the kid losing out on the gold and instead choosing chocolate. Now, after knowing all of this, how do I actually think right? Now, I need solution for my issues, but I don't know how to think right without emotions getting involved. So the culprit here is the emotions getting involved, because the mind's job is this. So we need to take the mind out while thinking and finding a solution. Now we cannot take our mind out, we cannot put it out and be like, you stay out there, well, I'll figure out a solution and then you can come back. We cannot do that. So how do we easily do is to just take a note, pen and paper and write, you guys. As simple as that. This is the easiest, cheapest solution out there, and it's 100% working solution. I've tried personally and it has done tremendous benefits. I am not telling you guys to journal. I'll be very clear with that. I'm not telling you guys to journal at all. I'm telling you guys to write down the issues that you have. So the overthinking is caused because of some unpleasant situations happening in your life, right? So take a note, pen and paper, and do not go with any electronic device. Take a proper note or a page or paper, write your exact issues you have. Sit in a place where you're comfortable and the surrounding is clean, preferably in the nature. If you have terrace in your house, please go use terrace so that there are no disturbance around, there are no people around, and you're in a calm space of at least in the environmental wise, you're in a calm space. Preferably during sunrise or in sunset, where the environment is actually supportive for doing all of these things. Once you sit in such a place, start taking the pen and paper and write down exactly the problems that you're facing. Okay, problem 1, I don't like my job. Or problem 2, I don't like such a person doing this thing. We will not have more than 1 or 2 major problems in our life, okay? That is all the problem. And from that major problem, there will be lots of branches problem, like, okay, I don't like my job, so I don't like waking up in the morning, so I always procrastinate, I always go late, and I get into stress, etc will happen. But the major issue is, I don't like my job. Like that, we'll have only 1 or 2 major problems in our life, and because of that, so many sub issues will crop up in our life. Write your issue and what are the issues it's causing because of that major issue. Just write whatever ever, like a bad marriage or bad husband, and because of that what is happening, or you didn't like the college that you are in, you don't like the job that you're in, parent is not behaving right with you, whatever the issue you have in your life, just write on a paper and then figure out the subdivisions of the problem. So once you clearly write on a paper, you will see exactly in your paper that okay, there is actually only 1 or 2 issues happening in your life. Rest or all, it's all connected because of one major issue. Because of that, smaller versions are happening in life. Minimize it to the major issues right now. Now we'll apply this concept: change, accept, or remove. For any situation an adult might exactly face in their life, there are only 3 solutions in life. Either you can change the situation, second is accept the situation because there's no other way out of it, or the third is remove myself from the situation. Or it's happening in a workplace or something like that. Can you change your workplace? Can you change your office? Can you leave the job and find a better job? Yes, meaning start working towards that option. If you cannot change your job, okay, can I accept the job just like that? No, I can accept, but it's like causing me too much issues because of this person. Okay, can I remove myself from that situation? Like if a colleague is causing me an issue, or if the manager is causing the issue, can I go and talk with the manager and kind of make myself some space out of it? Or can I change the department, or can I change the manager, or can I change something in that situation that I can remove myself and have some distance in there? Just giving an example of office, but you can apply this for anything else. Now the next thing, when it comes to relationship, we'll always try to change the other person. The immediate thing is change the other person. When the other person is changed, none of this issue is going to happen. But I'm going to spit the hard fact and hard truth after going through so much. You cannot change a person. We cannot change a person at all. A person can change only when they decide to change. We cannot make a person decide to change. We cannot force a person to change. You can beg, you can plead, you can force them, you can hold their neck, nothing. Try and do anything and everything possible, it is just not going to happen. So there is only one option left: accept. Can you remove yourself from the relationship? Can you just leave the person and go? Is that possibility? If yes, find out the pros and cons of it and go ahead. Forget the option of changing the person, because the changing of the person is never going to happen. Can you accept them as they are? If majority of the things are okay and there is 1 or 2 like hiccups happening, is it okay to accept that part? Now what we're doing is we're thinking right. The thinking pattern is right. Now we're logically thinking because we're writing down in a pen and paper, and now everything has to be directed towards the self. Okay, it always has to be targeted to our own self, because here the thing is about self-awareness, self-growth, self-understanding, and we're using the thinking pattern in terms of contemplation and introspection. Okay, that's a very important part, especially in spirituality. It's a very important part of contemplation and introspection. Most of our adult problems are basically there's no acceptance, because we are not ready to accept, and we cannot remove things also, nor we can change anybody. So only thing is acceptance is left, and we are not able to accept it, whereas acceptance is the only solution. So how do we develop acceptance? How do start accepting things? I will make another episode on that, because I struggled with that quite a lot, probably like months and years together, I would say, to get into this mode of accepting, being calm, letting things just be like that. It was very difficult for me. It had to be a very long process. I'm still not completely there. I mean, for certain situations I've accepted, certain situations I'm still yet to accept. And not just that, new situations keep coming into our life. It's not like, okay, one time I sorted it out, hey, I'm done, I'm good for life. No, after a week another issue will come, after a month another issue will come, and as in how we age and as in how we grow better, especially in spirituality, more and more harder and tougher situations will come. Now we'll have to be equipped to be ready to enough to face all the situations and come up with the right decision. So that's exactly how you think, and then how we'll develop acceptance, I'll make another another episode on that. It took me years to get there, and I'm still a work in progress as usual. With the help of Sri Krishna and scriptures and lots of amazing devotees and lots of gurus, and on top of it, self-effort on how to fix myself and listening to lots of satsangs and all of this together, and my effort, and of course tons and tons of Krishna's blessing, everything is like, moving through life. But yeah, it is not all that difficult. When I could do something, you could also do something. Only situations happen in our life. The way we take it will kind of become a problem or will kind of become a joy. Somebody's gotten me the cake. If I'm like, I'm going to be happy, the person has got me cake, I'm going to feel good about it and I'm going to feel happy. But if the same person has gotten me a wrong cake at the wrong date, then automatically I'm going to feel miserable. So the situation is the same, but the way I take it is the problem here. So here the situation is not the problem. I'm the one causing problem or joy out of the situation. Person doing something or whatever. The way I take it actually changes the response to it. I have pretty much experienced all of those things, and I'm still going through a lot here and there, and I'm still a work in progress, a learning in progress. So lots of things to implement, a lot of things to develop, lots of self-awareness to grow, a lot of understanding to grow. So many of the things are happening within me as well. You can also implement certain things. You can also take responsibility of your own situation and don't sit here and whine or get depressed or be sad or point fingers at the other person is the reason for all of these things. Whatever the other person can do for us, it's still in our own hand to fix it and move forward and become a better version of ourselves. And now this is something that I have to remind myself. So I'm only going to watch my video every now and then. Feeling stuck or feeling miserable, I'm going to switch on my own video and see myself talking about this, so that I don't enter into a rut. Because intellect needs to be worked out every single day. We need to feed it with the right knowledge every single day, and it has to be used every single day. And mind, on the other hand, it's like supercharged, powerful, never depleting, all the time, on. We've been conditioned to do that for ourselves for millions and millions of years together, and that's why we are like that. So we need our intellect to catch up so that the mind can be controlled and the logically decisions can be taken and overthinking is completely stopped. Once all of these are stopped, the health will get better by following Ayurvedic lifestyle, and then with the Gita, right knowledge, the intellect will be developed and better, stronger, and with a stronger intellect and a healthier body, we can march towards our purpose of this human birth and fulfill our human birth and not get stuck again in this entanglement and the cycle of birth and death. Purpose and intent of this video is to make us grow towards our inner self, towards our spiritual purpose, rather than getting ourselves entangled in these petty situations. But these situations are real. We need to figure out a solution as well. So this kind of thinking pattern, this kind of writing our issues will really help in figuring out the issues by our own self, so that the emotions are not involved. We can have a clear thinking pattern, and once the thinking pattern is done, we can start actually working towards it and implement it. So now we'll actually progressively work towards implementing it and will not end up sitting in overthinking mode. Because I told you, one of the things that mind always does is denies reality and negates responsibility. Now after writing it down, we will take our responsibility and we will accept the reality and we'll move forward automatically. Ayurveda and Gita are like the two amazing forces out there that will keep our body fine, mental fine, and internally nourish ourselves to get into the spiritual aspect of our life as well. So I'll catch you guys on my next podcast, and if you have any other questions in this video, please leave it on the comments below. I'll definitely help you out. Or if you want to talk with me on a personal level, not directly on the comments below, you can direct message me on my Instagram, so it will be private between you and I.